Claire Charles and her fellow campaigners are young, self-confident and absolutely determined. For over 6 weeks, they've been opposing President Macron's proposed pension reform. These young women are standing shoulder to shoulder with train operators and metro drivers. The proposed reform, they say, is especially unfair to women as they see pension benefits for mothers being cut.
Only the time worked during your lifetime would be counted towards your pension. That's not fair, as it's mostly women who take leave from work to raise children. Women are impacted by this reform, front and center.
Claire gave up her position as a senior secretary in order to run the feminist organization Les Effrontés, meaning the defiant ones. She wants to fight cuts to Social Security, which often impact women first. Les Effrontés have reworded a famous French hit and want to win over others through humor.
Most people at the demonstration are absolutely opposed to the pension reform, but they don't quite know why we feminists are here too. That's what our song is for. It helps to bring people to us.
In Claire's view, the high deficit of the pension system does not legitimate the reform. She supports the actions of the powerful train operators union, which brought public transport to a halt. Claire believes empty metro stations, like here at the station Nation, are necessary to ensure that the pensionable age remains at 62. For some, like rail workers, even earlier. Claire believes Macron wants to break up the French social security system with his reforms. This suspicion is shared by many, as French political scientist Pascal Perrineau explains.
The government is simply unable to explain the reasons behind these reforms. No matter if you're for or against them, the president's approach was somehow amateurish. I don't think that he said to himself, "I'll stage this massive conflict and then I'll end up coming out of it stronger than before." I believe the opposite is going to happen. This conflict will leave the president weakened.
In the meantime, Parisians are being patient, waiting for the few remaining trains, like here at Gare du Nord. The majority in France still wants to see the reform plans scrapped.
It's all been the opposite of common sense, again. The government made the decisions first, and only then did they talk to the unions. That's why we have this enormous strike.
The reform is necessary. How else is it going to work? We also have members of our family who aren't wealthy, and they're not afraid of the reform.
Of course, we're all against this pension reform, but the protests also address another issue. All those professions where permanent positions are increasingly rare have taken to the streets. I work as a researcher where there's no job security at all.
For Claire Charles, the French social security system is not outdated. With its short working lifetime, she thinks it could be groundbreaking for the future.
I don't see any signs of the protests calming down. We'll continue fighting until the government takes back the reform plans. You can't just keep cutting our social security system without any resistance. That's not on.
Claire Charles is convinced that solutions will be found. Therefore, she and her fellow campaigners will keep on protesting for weeks if necessary.